My son threw me through a glass door, called me broke and useless. I said nothing as blood ran down my face, because I had $21 million he knew nothing about. I'm sitting in the ER right now, holding a gauze pad to my forehead, and all I can think is, thank God I stayed silent all these years. Before I tell you what happened next, if you've ever felt invisible in your own family, you'll understand this story. Stay till the end. I promise you'll see justice served quietly, powerfully. Because sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's freedom. My name is Margaret Wilson. I'm 67 years old. And 3 hours ago, my son David and his wife Ashley showed me exactly how much I'm worth to them. Nothing. But let me back up. Because this story doesn't start tonight. It starts 30 years ago, when I was a young mother who believed family meant everything. I was a third-grade teacher in Columbus, Ohio. My husband Robert was a mechanical engineer. We weren't rich, but we were comfortable, happy. We had one son, David. Our whole world revolved around that boy. Piano lessons, soccer practice, science fair projects that took over our dining room table for weeks. Robert died when David was 16. Sudden heart attack, 42 years old, gone. I remember standing at his funeral, watching David cry into my shoulder and making a silent promise. I would make sure our son had everything, every opportunity, every chance at the life his father would have wanted for him. So I worked. God, did I work. I kept my teaching job during the day. At night, I tutored kids in reading and math. Weekends, I cleaned houses for the wealthy families on the north side. David never knew about the cleaning jobs. I told him I was doing curriculum planning. When David got accepted to Stanford, I was so proud I cried for 3 days straight. But Stanford cost money. A lot of money. More than I had, even with Robert's life insurance. My parents had left me their house when they passed, a sweet little craftsman in German village, worth about $200,000. I'd been renting it out, saving that money for David's future. I sold it. Used every penny for his tuition, room and board, textbooks, 4 years at Stanford. I wanted him to graduate debt-free, to have the fresh start his father never got. David graduated with honors, got a job at a tech company in San Francisco, met Ashley at a company retreat in Napa. She was a marketing manager, beautiful, polished, the kind of woman who always looked like she'd just stepped out of a salon. They got engaged after 6 months, married a year later. I flew out for the wedding, stayed in a budget hotel 20 miles from the venue because everything closer was too expensive. Ashley's parents paid for most of the wedding. I contributed what I could, $5,000. It was everything I'd saved that year. Ashley thanked me at the rehearsal dinner, but her smile didn't reach her eyes. When they wanted to buy a house back in Ohio, closer to Ashley's family in Cleveland, I helped. They needed a down payment, $80,000. I'd been saving since David was born, living frugally, banking every extra dollar. I gave it to them. Well, technically, I co-signed a loan. They promised they'd pay me back within 5 years. We even had a contract drawn up, but in my heart, I knew I'd never ask for it. What kind of mother charges her own son interest? The house was beautiful. 4 bedrooms, finished basement, 2-car garage. Ashley posted photos all over Facebook, tagged herself at Home Goods, at Pottery Barn, at West Elm. Every room was magazine perfect. I visited twice that first year. Both times I slept on the couch in the basement. The guest room was Ashley's home office. She needed the space, David explained, for her side business, some kind of online boutique that never seemed to actually sell anything. The visits got less frequent. I understood. They were young, building their careers. I didn't want to be the clingy mother-in-law who overstayed her welcome. But I called every Sunday, our standing phone date. For 3 years, David picked up every Sunday at 2 p.m. We'd talk for an hour. He'd tell me about work. I'd tell him about my former students, the ones who still sent me Christmas cards. Then the calls got shorter, 15 minutes, 10. Sometimes he'd forget entirely, text me later. Sorry, Mom, crazy day. I told myself it was normal. He was busy. He was 32 years old. He didn't need his mother hovering, but there were signs, small things that nagged at me. David's voice changed when Ashley was in the room, got quieter, more clipped. When I sent birthday cards with $50 tucked inside, all I could afford on my teacher's pension, Ashley would text me thank you notes, never David, just Ashley. And the messages always felt cold, obligatory. Thanks for the card. Last Christmas, I wasn't invited to their house. Ashley said they were keeping it small, just immediate family. I didn't understand. I was immediate family. But I didn't push. I spent Christmas alone in my apartment, eating chicken noodle soup from a can and watching It's a Wonderful Life. David called on December 26th, asked if I'd had a nice holiday. I lied, said it was lovely. I think that's when I started to realize I'd become invisible. But here's the thing. Here's the part they didn't know, the part nobody knew. 12 years ago, my Uncle Bernard died. He was my father's brother. Never married, no kids. Lived in a modest house in Cincinnati, drove the same Buick for 20 years. Everybody thought he was just scraping by on his postal worker pension. Turns out Uncle Bernard had been playing the stock market since the 1970s. He was brilliant at it. Conservative investor, bought and held, diversified, never touched the principal. When his lawyer called me, I almost hung up. I thought it was a scam. Mrs. Wilson, your uncle has left you his entire estate, $4.2 million. I remember sitting down at my kitchen table, phone pressed to my ear, unable to breathe. $4.2 million. The lawyer sent me all the documentation. It was real. Uncle Bernard had left everything to me. The house, the stocks, the bonds, the cash, everything. I met with the lawyer in person, Tom Bradshaw, a kind man in his 60s who'd handled Uncle Bernard's affairs for 30 years. Mrs. Wilson, he said, may I ask what you plan to do with this money? I looked at the paperwork spread across his desk. My hands were shaking. I want to invest it, I said, and I don't want to tell anyone, not even my son. Tom raised his eyebrows. That's unusual. Most people... I want to see, I interrupted. I surprised myself with how firm my voice was. I want to see if he loves me, or if he just loves what I can give him. Tom nodded slowly. That's wise, actually. Money changes people, changes families. So we set up a trust fund, invested conservatively but smart. Real estate holdings, index funds, municipal bonds. Over the next 12 years, that $4.2 million grew and grew. $21,347,000. I never touched it. Kept living on my teacher's pension. $2,800 a month after taxes. It was enough. Small apartment, used car, groceries from Aldi. I didn't need much. But I watched that number grow every quarter, and I watched my son. Tested him in a way, waiting to see what kind of man he'd become when he thought his mother had nothing. And tonight, I got my answer. My 67th birthday was last Tuesday. David called, apologized for missing it, said work was crazy. Ashley didn't even get on the phone. Then this afternoon, David texted me. Mom, can you come over for dinner tonight? We need to talk. I should have known. People never say, we need to talk when it's good news. But I went, because he's my son. Because some pathetic part of me still hoped he'd surprise me with a belated birthday cake, sing to me, make me feel like I mattered. I drove to their house in my 12-year-old Toyota, parked on the street because Ashley doesn't like other cars in the driveway. It messes up the aesthetic for her Instagram photos. I knocked on the door at 6 p.m. David answered. No hug, no smile, just, hey, Mom, come in. The house smelled like takeout. Thai food. Ashley was sitting at the kitchen table, scrolling through her phone. She looked up when I walked in, didn't smile. Hi, Ashley, I said. How are you? Fine. She didn't ask how I was. David gestured to the table. Sit down, Mom, I'll fix you a plate. There was no birthday cake, no candles, no card, just leftover pad thai in containers from 4 days ago. I could tell because the receipt was still on the counter. Monday's date. I sat. David microwaved a plate for me, set it down. The noodles were rubbery, cold in the middle. Ashley put her phone down, looked at me with this expression I'd never seen before. Not quite contempt, not quite pity, something in between. "Margaret," she said. She never called me Mom. Always Margaret. "We need to talk about your living situation." My stomach dropped. "What do you mean? I'm fine in my apartment." "You're 67, Ashley said. Her voice was flat, matter of fact, like she was reading from a script. "You can't keep living alone on that teacher's pension. It's embarrassing." Embarrassing. The word hit me like a slap. David shifted in his seat. Wouldn't meet my eyes. "Mom, we've been thinking. Maybe it's time you moved to a senior living community. There's a place called Sunrise. It's nice, clean, and it's affordable." Affordable. I knew what that meant. Cheap. "But I'm healthy," I said. My voice came out smaller than I intended. "I don't need assisted living. I'm not—" "We're not asking, Margaret." Ashley leaned forward. "We're telling you. We can't keep worrying about you being a burden. We have our own lives, our own plans." A burden. 40 years. 40 years of sacrifice, of working 2 jobs, of giving everything. And I was a burden. I stood up. My chair scraped against the floor. "I think I should go." "No." Ashley stood too, blocked my path to the door. "You're going to sit down and listen. We've already contacted Sunrise. They have a studio available next month. Assisted living, 3 meals a day, activities, you'll be fine there." "I don't want—" "It's not about what you want." Ashley's voice rose. "You're broke, Margaret. You've been broke your whole life. Stop pretending you have options. Stop acting like you did something special by raising your own kid. That's what parents are supposed to do." I looked at David, waited for him to defend me, to tell his wife she was out of line. He said nothing, just stared at his plate. "David," I whispered, "please." He looked up, and in his eyes I saw it. Embarrassment. He was embarrassed of me. "Mom, just sign the papers. It's for the best." For the best. For whose best? I picked up my purse. "I'm leaving." Ashley grabbed my arm. "No, you're signing tonight." "Let go of me." "Sign the papers." I pulled away, tried to step around her. She moved with me, blocked the doorway. "Ashley, please." She shoved me, hard, both hands against my shoulders. I stumbled backward, lost my balance, fell toward the sliding glass door that led to their back patio. I remember the sound, the crack of glass, sharp and final. Then I was on the ground, glass everywhere, something wet on my face, blood running down my cheek, dripping onto my blouse. I lay there for a moment, stunned, ears ringing. David stood over me, didn't offer his hand, just stared. Ashley crossed her arms. "Look what you made me do. Now we have to replace that door. That's $800, Margaret." $800. I was bleeding on her floor, and she was worried about $800. I stood up, slowly. Glass crunched under my shoes. I picked up my purse, walked to the front door. "Where are you going?" David's voice, small, scared. I didn't answer, didn't look back. Just opened the door and walked to my car, got in, closed the door, locked it, sat there in the dark, blood dripped onto my lap. I looked in the rearview mirror, a gash above my eyebrow, deep. Would probably need stitches. I should have called the police, should have reported assault, battery, but I didn't. I just sat there, engine off, hands shaking, and I thought about $21 million. Sitting in accounts they knew nothing about. I thought about 30 years of sacrifice, of believing blood meant loyalty. I thought about Uncle Bernard's words in the letter Tom had given me with the inheritance. "Margaret, family is supposed to lift you up, not tear you down. If they can't see your worth, that's their blindness, not your failure." I started the car, drove to the ER, got 7 stitches above my left eyebrow, told the nurse I slipped in the shower. She didn't believe me. I could tell, but she didn't push. It's midnight now. I'm sitting in my apartment. The lights are off. I'm holding my phone. I should be crying, should be devastated, should be questioning everything. But I'm not. I'm calm, clearer than I've been in years. Because here's what I realized. Sitting in that car outside their house, they don't just disrespect me. They truly believe I'm worthless, and maybe it's time I showed them exactly how wrong they are. Not with anger, not with shouting, not with some dramatic confrontation, with silence, with action, with the quiet power of simply walking away. I scroll through my contacts. Find Tom Bradshaw's number. It's late, but he told me years ago, call anytime, day or night. He answers on the third ring. Margaret, everything okay? Tom, I say. My voice is steady, strong. I need you to activate the trust fund protocols, all of them. A pause. Are you sure? I'm sure. This will freeze all assets you've co-signed. Your name will be removed from their mortgage. They'll have to cover that $80,000 down payment immediately or face foreclosure proceedings. I know. Margaret, I also need you to draft a new will tonight if possible. Everything goes to charity. The Columbus Foundation, the Women's Shelter, the Literacy Program. Nothing to David. Another pause. Longer this time. What happened? I look at myself in the bathroom mirror, at the stitches above my eye, at the bruises forming on my shoulder where I hit the ground. I got my answer, Tom. The one I've been waiting 12 years for. I'm sorry. Don't be. This is the best birthday gift I could have given myself. Freedom. I hear typing on his end. I'll have everything ready by morning. The paperwork will be filed by 9 a.m. Margaret, they're going to react. They're going to try to contact you. Let them try. Are you safe? Do you need somewhere to stay? I'm safe. And Tom, thank you for everything. You did the right thing, Margaret. Not everyone has the courage to choose themselves. I hang up. Make 3 more calls. To the bank, to my financial advisor, to my lawyer's partner who handles real estate. By 2 a.m., it's done. By morning, David and Ashley's mortgage will be frozen. The co-signed loan will be called. They'll owe $80,000 immediately, plus penalties, plus interest, and I'll be gone. Not to Sunrise Senior Living, not to some assisted living facility where I'm warehoused and forgotten, to the coast, to Oregon, to a little town I've always dreamed about, where I can wake up to the sound of waves, where nobody knows me as David's mother, where I'm just Margaret. Finally, blessedly, just Margaret. I pack a bag. Not everything, just enough. Clothes, my photo albums, Robert's wedding ring on its chain, Uncle Bernard's letter. I leave everything else. The furniture, the dishes, the memories. They can have it all, because I'm taking something they can never touch. My dignity, my peace, my $21 million. I write one note, leave it on the kitchen counter. David, I hope you and Ashley are very happy in the life you've chosen. I'm choosing mine now. Don't look for me. I won't be found. And the money you never knew I had, you'll never see a penny. Not because I'm cruel, but because I finally understand the difference between love and obligation. I fulfilled my obligation. You failed at love. I'm done waiting for you to change. I'm changing instead. Be well. Live your life. But live it without me. Mom. I look around the apartment one last time, at the couch where David used to do his homework, at the kitchen table where we ate pancakes every Sunday morning when he was little, at the photographs on the wall. Me and Robert. Me and baby David. David's kindergarten graduation. All the memories of a life I poured everything into, a life that no longer wants me. I turn off the lights, lock the door, drop the key in the landlord's mailbox with a note saying, I'm breaking my lease. And I drive west, toward the sunrise, toward a new life, toward freedom. My phone rings, once, twice, 15 times. David, Ashley. David again. I turn it off, and for the first time in 40 years, I feel light. I'm 3 weeks into my new life in Cannon Beach, Oregon, when I remember the file. I'm unpacking the last box in my cottage, a tiny rental 2 blocks from the ocean with windows that rattle when the wind picks up and a porch just big enough for 1 chair. When my hand closes around the manila folder at the bottom, trust fund documents, statements, 12 years of quarterly reports I've barely looked at. I sit on the hardwood floor, legs crossed, and spread the papers around me. Numbers. So many numbers. But they're not just numbers, they're years. Years of testing, years of hoping, years of waiting for my son to prove he loved me for me. The earliest statement is dated March 2013. Account balance, $4,200,000. I remember that day, sitting in Tom's office, signing papers, my hands shaking so badly I could barely hold the pen. "Mrs. Wilson," Tom had said, "most people in your position would tell their families immediately. Buy a new house, take a vacation, help their children." I'd looked up at him. "I've been helping my child his whole life. I want to see what happens when he thinks I have nothing left to give." Tom had studied me for a long moment. "That's either very wise or very sad." "Maybe both," I'd said. Now, sitting on this floor 3,000 miles from that office, I flip through the years. 2014, $5,100,000. 2015, $6,300,000. Conservative investments, steady growth. Nothing flashy, just patience and time. 2016, $7,800,000. That was the year David got married. I'd flown to San Francisco for the wedding, stayed in that budget hotel, wore a dress I'd bought on clearance at Macy's 3 years earlier. Ashley's mother wore Chanel. I remember the look she gave me. Not unkind, just assessing, measuring, finding me insufficient. I'd given them $5,000 as a wedding gift, everything I'd saved that year. Ashley had opened the card at the rehearsal dinner in front of everyone. "Oh," she'd said, loud enough for nearby tables to hear. "How sweet. We'll put this toward the honeymoon fund." $5,000. Sweet. Like a child's piggy bank offering. If she'd known, if they'd all known. But that was the point, wasn't it? I didn't want them to know. I wanted to see their true faces, their real hearts. I got my wish. The statements continue. 2017, $9,200,000. 2018, $11,600,000. 2019, $13,100,000. The market dipped in 2020, COVID, but my advisor was smart, diversified. By late 2021, we'd recovered $15,700,000. 2022, $18,400,000. That was the year I wasn't invited to Christmas. The year I ate soup alone and told myself it was fine, that I understood, that young couples needed their space. I was lying to myself. I knew it even then. But it's easier to lie to yourself than face the truth that your child doesn't want you around. 2023, $20,900,000, and now 2024, $21,347,000. I sit back against the wall, look around this cottage, bare walls, secondhand furniture, a life that costs me $1,200 a month. I could buy this entire building, this entire block, but I don't want to. I just want to be free. My phone buzzes. I turned it back on yesterday. New number. Only Tom has it. I look at the screen. Tom. "Margaret, David's attorney has filed papers requesting information about your assets. They're claiming you fraudulently hid marital property." I laugh. Actually laugh out loud. Marital property. I wasn't married to David, and the money was mine 12 years before I co-signed that loan. I text back, "Let them file whatever they want. The trust was established before any financial agreements with David. They have no claim." Tom, "I know, but they're going to make noise. Are you prepared for that?" Am I prepared? I think about the question. 3 weeks ago, I would have been terrified, would have caved immediately, would have called David, apologized, fixed everything. But that was the old Margaret. The Margaret who believed peace was worth any price, who thought being needed was the same as being loved. I text, "Let them make noise. I'm living by the ocean now. It's louder than they'll ever be." Tom, that's the spirit. Call if you need anything. I set the phone down. Look at the papers scattered around me. My entire financial history, spread across a stranger's floor in a town where nobody knows my name. And I realize something. These papers aren't heavy. They don't weigh me down because they were never about the money. They were about the test, and the test is over. I gather the statements, put them back in the folder, and slide the folder into a drawer. I don't need to look at them anymore. Don't need to track the numbers or calculate the growth. The money is there, safe, protected, untouchable. And I'm here. Finally living. The morning Uncle Bernard's lawyer first called me, I'd been grading spelling tests at my kitchen table. Third graders. The word was beautiful. Half the class spelled it beatiful. One creative soul wrote bootiful. I was marking papers when my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. "Mrs. Wilson, this is Tom Bradshaw. I'm handling the estate of Bernard Wilson." "Uncle Bernard?" My pen stopped mid-correction. "Is he okay?" "I'm sorry to inform you that Mr. Wilson passed away last Tuesday. Heart attack. Very sudden. He didn't suffer." I'd set down the pen. Uncle Bernard, Dad's younger brother. The quiet one who came to Christmas dinner every year with a box of Russell Stover chocolates and stories about the post office that somehow made sorting mail sound like an adventure. "Oh," it was all I could say. "Oh, I didn't know. No one called." He didn't have many relatives. Just you, actually. "Mrs. Wilson, I'm calling because you're the sole beneficiary of his estate." I don't understand. Uncle Bernard didn't have much. He lived in that little house in Cincinnati, drove that old Buick. "Mrs. Wilson, your uncle's estate is valued at $4.2 million. I dropped the phone, literally dropped it. Had to scramble to pick it up off the floor. "I'm sorry." "What?" $4.2 million. Your uncle was an extremely savvy investor. Started in the 70s with a few $100s, bought blue chip stocks, held them for decades, reinvested dividends. He lived very modestly and never touched the principal. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. $4 million? Plus the house and his personal effects. "I'll need you to come to my office to sign some papers. Are you available this week?" I'd gone that Friday. Sat in Tom's office with its leather chairs and diplomas on the wall, signed paper after paper, tried to process what was happening. "Your uncle left you a letter," Tom said, sliding an envelope across the desk. I opened it with shaking hands. Uncle Bernard's careful handwriting, block letters. He'd always written like that. Said cursive was for people who had time to waste. "Margaret," the letter began, "if you're reading this, I'm gone. Don't be sad. I had a good run. 78 years. Not bad for a guy who smoked until he was 50. I'm leaving you everything because you're the only one who ever visited me just to visit. Not because you needed something. Not because it was a holiday and you felt obligated. You came because you wanted to see me. Brought me those terrible cookies you make. The ones that are always a little burnt on the bottom. I love those cookies. Not because they tasted good. They didn't. But because you made them for me. Margaret, I watched you raise David alone after Robert died. Watched you work yourself to the bone. Watched you give everything and ask for nothing. You're a good woman. Too good, maybe. People take advantage of good. This money is yours. Do whatever you want with it. But my advice? Don't tell anyone. Not right away. Money changes people. Changes families. You think you know someone, and then they find out you have money, and suddenly they're different. They want things. They expect things. They stop seeing you and start seeing a wallet. Test them first. See who loves you when they think you have nothing. Then you'll know who's real. Family is supposed to lift you up, not tear you down. If they can't see your worth, That's their blindness, not your failure. Live well, Margaret. You deserve it. Love, Uncle Bernard P.S. The Buick is in the garage. She runs good. Might need new tires. I'd sat in Tom's office and cried, not because Uncle Bernard was gone, not even because of the money, but because someone had seen me. Really seen me. Had noticed the burnt cookies and the visits and the way I just showed up because I cared. Mrs. Wilson, Tom had passed me a box of tissues. Are you all right? He told me not to tell anyone. That's what I wanted to discuss. What are your plans for the money? I'd wiped my eyes, looked at the letter again, read the words. See who loves you when they think you have nothing. I want to invest it, I'd said. And I don't want to tell my son. Not yet. Maybe not ever. I want to see what? Who he really is. Now, 12 years later, I have my answer. And Uncle Bernard was right. Money changes people. Or maybe it just reveals who they always were. I walk to the window, look out at the ocean. Gray and wild today. Waves crashing against rocks. Seagulls fighting the wind. I think about calling David, explaining, making him understand. But what would I say? I tested you for 12 years and you failed. That sounds cruel, manipulative, like I was playing games. But was I? Or was I just protecting myself, protecting the last thing I had that was truly mine? I don't know, and maybe it doesn't matter anymore. I hear a knock on the door, tentative. 3 soft taps. I open it. An older woman stands on my porch, 70-something, white hair cut short, wearing a purple raincoat and holding a casserole dish covered in aluminum foil. Hi, she says. I'm Dorothy. I live next door. Saw you moving in last week. Thought I'd bring you some welcome to the neighborhood lasagna. She pauses. It's vegetarian. Hope that's okay. Everyone's got dietary restrictions these days. I take the dish. It's still warm. That's so kind. Thank you. I'm Margaret. Margaret? Dorothy smiles. You seem peaceful, like you've just shed a heavy coat. The observation catches me off guard. I did, a very heavy one. Good for you. Most people wear their coats until they die, suffocate under all that weight. Good on you for taking yours off. She looks past me into the cottage. You settling in okay? Need anything? Extra toilet paper? Coffee? Bourbon? I laugh. I'm okay, but thank you, really. Well, I'm right next door, number 12. If you need anything or just want company, knock. I'm always home. Retired, widowed, bored out of my skull most days. She winks. Also, fair warning, I'm nosy. I'll probably ask you 100 personal questions eventually. Feel free to tell me to mind my own business. I'll keep that in mind. Dorothy starts to leave, then turns back. You running from something or towards something? The question is so direct, it takes my breath away. Both, I think. That's the best kind of running. She nods. Okay, enjoy the lasagna. And Margaret, welcome home. She walks down the porch steps and across the small yard to her own cottage. Disappears inside. I close the door. Look at the lasagna. Feel something strange in my chest. Warmth, connection. Dorothy doesn't know me. Doesn't know I'm a mother who failed. Doesn't know about David or Ashley or the glass door or the blood. She just sees a woman who moved into the cottage next door. And that's enough. I eat the lasagna for dinner. It's delicious. Real mozzarella, fresh basil. The kind of meal someone makes when they care about the person who's going to eat it. I haven't had a meal like that in years. 3 days later, Dorothy knocks again, this time with coffee and croissants from the bakery in town. Thought you might need breakfast, she says, and I wanted to return my dish, but figured I'd be a better neighbor if I brought more food with me. We sit on my porch. Drink coffee, watch the ocean. Don't talk much. It's comfortable, easy. You don't have to tell me, Dorothy says eventually, but you've got that look. What look? The look of someone who's been hurt by family. I had the same look when I moved here 15 years ago, after my daughter stopped speaking to me. I turned to her. Your daughter? Dorothy breaks off a piece of croissant. I didn't approve of her husband, said so at the wedding. Not my finest moment. Turns out I was right. He was an ass. But being right doesn't win you points in family dynamics. She chose him, cut me off for 8 years. By the time she finally called, I'd already learned to live without her. Did you two reconcile? Eventually, sort of. We talk now, holidays, birthdays, but it's not the same. Can't be. Too much time passed. Too much hurt. She looks at me. I'm not telling you this to make you sad. I'm telling you this because sometimes the family that stops speaking to you does you a favor. They free you. Let you build a life that's actually yours. I don't cry, but it's close. My son threw me through a glass door, called me broke and useless, tried to force me into assisted living because I was an embarrassment to him. Dorothy doesn't gasp, doesn't look shocked, just nods. And I'm guessing he doesn't know you have money. $21 million, he has no idea. Good. Keep it that way. His house is about to be foreclosed. I co-signed his mortgage. I pulled out. He can't cover it. Good, Dorothy says again. Let him learn what it's like to solve his own problems. That's cruel. No, honey, cruel is what he did to you. What you're doing is called consequences. There's a difference. We sit in silence, finish our coffee, watch a family walk by on the beach. 2 kids, a dog, parents holding hands. Do you regret it? I ask. The years without your daughter. Dorothy considers. No, because those years taught me something important. I'm a whole person without her. I thought I needed her to be complete, needed to be her mother, but I don't. I'm Dorothy, with or without her, and that's enough. She stands, collects the cups. Same time tomorrow? I'll bring muffins. I'd like that. Dorothy leaves, and I sit there, on my porch, watching the waves, thinking about being enough, about being whole, about being Margaret, not David's mother, not Robert's widow, not Ashley's embarrassment, just Margaret. My phone rings. I look at the screen. Tom. They're escalating, he says. David filed a civil suit, claiming you deliberately sabotaged their financial stability, that you breached a verbal contract to support them long term. There was no verbal contract. I know, but they're going to make this ugly. His lawyer is aggressive. They're going to try to freeze your assets, argue that the money should have been disclosed when you co-signed the mortgage, that you committed fraud by hiding assets. Can they win? No, the trust was established years before any financial agreements with David. It's completely separate. But they can drag this out, cost you legal fees. Stress. I think about Uncle Bernard's letter, about 12 years of testing, about David's face when he stood over me, bleeding on his floor, and said nothing. Let them drag it out, I say. I'm not settling. I'm not compromising. They threw me away like garbage. Now they can live with that choice. Margaret, I'm not doing this to punish them, Tom. I'm doing this because I deserve better, because I spent 40 years being small and accommodating and grateful for scraps. I'm done. A pause. Then, okay, we'll fight it. But Margaret, they're going to contact you, directly. Are you ready for that? I don't know, but I guess I'll find out. 2 days later, it happens. I'm walking on the beach, collecting shells, something I haven't done since I was a child, when my phone rings, new number, not one I recognize. I almost don't answer, but something makes me pick up. Mom? David's voice, strained, desperate. Mom, is this you? I stop walking, stand there on the sand, waves washing over my feet, phone pressed to my ear. Margaret, please, I know you're there. I can hear the ocean. I should hang up, should let him talk to voicemail, but I can't. What do you want, David? Thank God. He exhales. Sounds like he's crying. Mom, where are you? We've been looking everywhere. The police said they couldn't file a missing persons report because you're an adult, and you left voluntarily, but I'm fine. I'm safe. You don't need to worry. Don't need to worry. Mom, the house, the mortgage, the bank called. They said you removed yourself from the loan. They're demanding $80,000 immediately. We don't have $80,000. That's unfortunate. Silence. Then, what? I said, that's unfortunate, but it's not my problem anymore. Not your, Mom, this is our house. We'll lose it. We'll lose everything. You should have thought about that before you threw me through a glass door. More silence. Longer this time. Ashley was upset. She called me broke and useless. You stood there and let her. You didn't defend me. You didn't help me up. You just watched me bleed. I know, and I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But Mom, please, we need help. We need you. There it is. The truth. They don't need me. They need my help. They need my money. But they don't actually need me. No, I say. What? No, I'm not helping. I'm not fixing this. You're 42 years old, David. Figure it out. But where will we go? What will we do? I don't know. That's not my concern anymore. How can you say that? I'm your son. And you're a son who told me to go to assisted living because I embarrassed you. A son who let his wife assault me. A son who has called me exactly 0 times in the 3 weeks since that night to ask if I was okay. You're my son biologically, but you're not my son in any way that matters. I can hear him crying now, actually sobbing. Please, Mom, please, I'll do anything. I'll apologize. I'll make Ashley apologize. We'll go to therapy. Whatever you want. I don't want anything from you, David. That's what you don't understand. I don't want apologies or promises or therapy. I just want to live my life without you in it. You don't mean that. I do, more than I've ever meant anything. But you're my mother. You can't just abandon me. And there it is, the final proof, the ultimate irony. David, I say, voice calm, you abandoned me first. You just didn't realize it because I was still there, available, waiting for you to need me. But being present isn't the same as being valued. I was invisible in your life until you needed something, and I'm done being invisible. What about the money? Everyone's saying you have money. Ashley saw the lawyer's paperwork. $21 million, that's insane. That can't be real. So that's it. That's why he's really calling. Not because he's sorry. Not because he misses me. Because he wants to know about the money. It's real, I say. Uncle Bernard left me an inheritance 12 years ago. I invested it. Grew it. And David? And you're never going to see a penny of it. You can't be serious. That's my inheritance. Dad's insurance money went to my education. Mom's inheritance should what? Belong to you? Why? Because you exist? Because you're entitled to everything I have simply by virtue of being born? Because I'm your son, and I was your mother. I gave you everything. My youth, my money, my time, my energy, my heart. And when I had nothing left to give, you threw me away. So no, David, you don't get the money. You don't get another chance. You don't get anything. Because sometimes the best thing a mother can do for her child is let them fall, let them learn, let them grow up. I hate you. His voice breaks. I hate you so much right now. That's okay. You can hate me. But you have to do it from a distance. Don't call this number again. Don't look for me. Don't send lawyers or private investigators or guilt trips. I'm done, David. Completely, totally done. I hope you figure out your life. I hope you grow into a better person, but I won't be around to see it. Goodbye. I hang up. Block the number. Stand there on the beach, phone in hand, tears streaming down my face. But they're not sad tears. They're relief. Pure, crystalline relief. I said it. I finally said everything I needed to say, everything I'd been swallowing for years. And the sky didn't fall. The earth didn't crack open. I just let go. And it feels like flying. I walk back to the cottage. Dorothy is on her porch, reading a book. She looks up as I approach. You okay? She calls. I talked to my son. And I told him the truth, that I'm done. Dorothy closes her book, stands, walks over to my porch. How do you feel? Free, I say. I feel free. She smiles, reaches out and squeezes my hand. Good. That's exactly how you should feel. Come on, I made soup. You look like you could use some soup. We go to her cottage, eat tomato bisque with grilled cheese sandwiches, talk about everything except my son, gardening, books, the raccoon that keeps knocking over Dorothy's trash can, normal things, simple things, things that have nothing to do with sacrifice or obligation or family drama. And for the first time in 40 years, I realize this is what life is supposed to feel like. Light, easy, mine. That night, I write a letter, not to David, to myself. Dear Margaret, you did it. You chose yourself. It wasn't easy. It wasn't pretty. It hurt like hell. But you did it. You're 67 years old. You've been a daughter, a wife, a mother, a teacher. You've been so many things for so many people. Now it's time to just be Margaret. Figure out who that is, what she likes, what she wants, what makes her happy. You have time. You have resources. You have the rest of your life. Don't waste it trying to fix what's broken. Don't waste it hoping David will change. Don't waste it being who you used to be. Be who you're becoming. Be free. Love, Margaret. I fold the letter, put it in a frame, hang it on the wall where I'll see it every morning. A reminder, a promise, a vow. 3 weeks later, I'm buying groceries at the small market in town when I see him. David, standing by the produce section, looking lost and smaller than I remember. For a second, I think about turning around, walking out, avoiding the whole thing, but something stops me. Not obligation, not guilt, just curiosity. I walk toward him. He sees me. His face goes pale. Mom? His voice cracks. What are you doing here? I live here? Here? In Cannon Beach? Yes. We stand there in awkward silence. Other shoppers move around us, oblivious to the weight of this moment. David looks terrible, thinner, dark circles under his eyes, wearing sweatpants and a stained t-shirt. Not the polished, successful son I remember. Where's Ashley? I ask. She left. After the house was foreclosed, moved back to Cleveland with her parents, filed for divorce last week. He laughs, but it's bitter, broken. Turns out she only loved me when things were going well. I should feel vindicated, satisfied, but I just feel tired. I'm sorry. Are you? Really? Yes. I didn't want you to hurt, David. I just wanted you to grow up. His eyes fill with tears. Mom, I was wrong about everything. I see that now. Ashley was toxic. She made me into someone I'm not, someone cruel. I should have protected you, should have stood up for you, should have... Stop. I hold up a hand. I don't need your apologies, David. I needed them 3 weeks ago. I needed them when I was bleeding on your floor, but I don't need them now. Then what do you need? I look at this man, my son, the boy I raised, the man I don't recognize. I need you to take care of yourself, get therapy, figure out who you are without Ashley, without me, without anyone propping you up or tearing you down. Just be a person, a whole functional person. And us? Is there any chance? I don't know, I say honestly. Maybe someday? Maybe years from now. But not today. Not this month. Not this year. I need time, David. Time to just be me. And you need time to become someone worthy of being let back into my life. He nods, wipes his eyes. I deserve that. I deserve worse than that. This isn't about what you deserve. It's about what I need, and I need space. I need peace. I need to remember who I was before I became your mother. Okay. He swallows hard. Can I at least know you're okay? Can I write you? Once in a while? I think about it, really think about it. Part of me wants to say no, to cut ties completely, to protect myself from any possibility of hurt. But another part of me, the part that's been healing these past weeks, knows that complete severance isn't the answer. It's just a different kind of prison. You can write, I say, to Tom's office. He'll forward letters to me if I choose to read them. but I won't always choose to read them, and I might not write back, and you have to be okay with that. I will be, I promise. Don't promise, David. Just do it. Promises don't mean anything anymore. Actions do. We stand there for another moment. Two people who used to be everything to each other, now just two strangers in a grocery store. Goodbye, David. Goodbye, Mom. I walk to the checkout, pay for my groceries, walk out into the Oregon sunshine, and I don't look back. Because looking back is how you stay stuck, how you remain trapped in who you used to be. And I'm not that person anymore. I'm Margaret Wilson. I'm 67 years old. I have $21 million. I live by the ocean. I eat lasagna made by my neighbor. I collect shells. I watch sunsets. And I'm free. Finally, blessedly, completely free. That's the end of my story. Not with a big confrontation, not with revenge, not with reconciliation, just with a choice. My choice to live for me. If this resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you ever felt invisible in your own family? Have you ever had to choose yourself over someone you loved? Leave a comment. Share your story. Because I've learned something these past weeks. We're not alone. So many of us are carrying these invisible wounds, these quiet betrayals, and sometimes the bravest thing we can do is admit it, share it, let go, subscribe if you want more stories like this. Real stories. Honest stories. Stories about people who chose freedom over obligation. Remember, you don't need anyone's permission to choose yourself. You just need courage. And if a 67-year-old woman with 7 stitches and a broken heart can do it, so can you. Be well, live your life, but live it for you.